Hello, free people of the Rocky Mountain region. This is Brandon from Free State, Colorado, and I hope you're doing well. Hey, some good news here. Love sharing good news, but homicides and shootings in Denver have plunged to a 6 year low, according to this Denver Post article. And that's great news. Happy to hear it. Crime has been out of control here in Colorado, especially the Denver metro area, for too many years. So the article continues. So far in 2025, homicides in Denver are down nearly 60% from 2021's pandemic peak in violence. Well, there we go. The unfortunate COVID years did cause some major disruption to our society and our state, and we're still recovering. I mean, it's absolutely crazy what a negative impact all these government policies had on the people. So let's just read a little bit on this article here. Homicides and shootings in Denver declined significantly during the first 7 months of this year, nearing lows not seen for half a decade. The city is on track this year to see levels of homicides and shootings similar to what Denver experienced in 2019, before crime soared to historic highs during the COVID-19 pandemic. Plunging violence has also been reported in cities nationwide and continues a steady years long decrease since the pandemic peak in 2021. What is happening in Denver to varying degrees is happening all over the country, said Daniel Nagin, professor of public policy and statistics at Carnegie Mellon University. It is going on nationwide. 25 people were killed in Denver between January and July of this year, according to the data provided by the Denver Police Department. Gosh, it's still too many. That is a 41% decrease from the 42 people killed in that 7 month time frame in 2024. It's good. And a 58% drop from the 60 people killed in that time frame during the city's peak violence in 2021. Wow. Still a lot of people, really. Really sad stuff. Homicides in Denver this year are lower than they were even in 2019, when 33 people had been killed by the end of July, police records show. It is the first time that homicides have dipped below pre pandemic levels. Wow. I mean, that is good news. Thankful that that's happening. I think there's some questions as to why. This Denver Post article, of course, goes into some of these nonprofits' efforts, and sure, hopefully they are having a good effect. What I thought was interesting here, down here, is that Denver's really focusing on some areas that are really the crime hotspots, and that does make a lot of sense here. It says Denver police are also continuing their focus on particular geographic areas that are problem spots for violence. The department has focused efforts on Paco Sanchez and La Alma Lincoln Parks, as well as the intersections of East Colfax Avenue and North Verbena Street, Leedsdale Drive and South Oneida Street, and Morrison Road and South Perry Street. The department has also targeted the 4300 to 4800 block of North Peoria Street and lower downtown. There is evidence that the focus on the particular areas has been effective. Violent gun offenses are down nearly 15% across the 7 focus sites this year compared to last, Denver police spokesman Doug Shepman says. So, I mean, that's good. Good to hear it, that that's been going on. But I think, it's not good enough. I mean, ultimately, that's what we got to think, right? We can't accept these levels of violence in our communities in Colorado. Unfortunately, according to this U.S. News and World Report here from May 6, 2025, Colorado's the number two out of the 10 most dangerous states in America. That is not good, folks. So, although we're seeing some positive trends, we got a long ways to go. Number two out of the entire 50 states, or at least out of this top 10 list. I mean, come on, this is crazy. Our violent crime rate is 474 per 100,000. Property crime rate 2879 per 100,000. Wow. I mean, only New Mexico is worse than Colorado, a border state. So bad news there, folks. I have to wonder and I have to ask, and I'm sure a lot of people watching this video probably have already thought about this, but what's changed since January 2025 compared to the last few years? Last 4 years in particular, right? Well, I'd have to say that the immigration enforcement has something to do with it. I do believe that that is the case. This is from ICE, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, July 23rd, 2025. ICE arrests 243 illegal aliens in the Denver metro area. Now, that was just in a very short amount of time. Of course, they've been doing those operations longer than that. Those arrested include TDA gang members, murderers, human traffickers, and child sex offenders. Of course, getting some violent criminals off the street is a good thing, and it's no surprise that the Denver Post didn't bring this up whatsoever in their article. The fact that there is increased enforcement from the federal level going after some of these bad offenders. Let's see what they had to say here. It says U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement arrested 243 illegal aliens in the Denver metro area who are currently charged with or have been convicted of criminal offenses after illegally entering the United States. The operation ran from July 12th to July 20th. Gosh, it's a short amount of time, and resulted in the arrest of one alien wanted for murder, one wanted for human trafficking, five wanted for or convicted of sex related offenses, including sexual assault and sexual exploitation of a minor. Gosh, horrible. Nine charged with or convicted of drug related offenses, 13 charged with or convicted of assault, eight charged with or convicted of theft charges, including burglary, robbery, and motor vehicle theft, and 17 with charges or convictions related to driving under the influence. Wow. So, I mean, you got to think just in that short amount of time to get 253 people who are involved in violent gangs. I mean, you're talking about Los Zetas, Tren de Aragua, Sonora, the Sonora Cartel, other organizations out there, people who are up to no good in our communities, committing crimes, and of course, involved in the illegal drug trade. You got to wonder, the more secure border is preventing a lot of these criminals from getting into Colorado. And it's so unfortunate because Colorado has so many policies that just invite people who are willing to break the law to come into our communities here. So even in Colorado Springs recently here, this is from krdo.com. Colorado Springs DEA executes drug raid, alleged Mexican cartel members distributing drugs. That's a good thing there. Five arrested there on August 7th, 2025. On Thursday, a spokesperson for the Drug Enforcement Administration confirmed two search warrants were executed at the Village East Apartments on Hathaway Drive in Colorado Springs. The DEA says the raid happened Thursday morning. They allege the apartments were being used to distribute drugs by Mexican cartel members. During the execution of the warrants, agents say they seized a handgun, fentanyl pills, methamphetamine, cocaine, and heroin, in addition to a large amount of money. Well, there you go, folks. I mean, you have increased enforcement from the federal level going after some of these violent criminals, going after some of these people who should not be in our communities. And then you have increased border control. I mean, it's got to have something to do with it, I would say. Sure, some of these other government programs that maybe or nonprofit programs have helped some individuals in the Denver metro area get away from crime. We've seen some maybe better policies by Denver police. That's all good stuff. But I really think securing the border and really going after these hardcore criminals is having a positive impact. And it's so unfortunate, like I was saying, Colorado is such a magnet, a sanctuary, I would say, in my opinion, for illegal aliens that ICE wants to open up as many as three new detention centers in rural Colorado. You know, when the demand is there, because the supply is there, right? There's a lot of supply of illegal aliens here in Colorado. And even though they're cleaning a lot of them out of the streets, they're getting some here as well. They need some more room for them. If the plans come to fruition, the new facilities would triple ICE's detention capacity in the state. So this is from the Denver Post, August 15th, 2025 is when it was updated. Federal immigration officials intend to triple Colorado's immigrant detention capacity by opening as many as three new facilities in the state in the coming months. Wow. According to recent planning documents obtained by the Washington Post. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement was already moving to reopen a closed correctional facility in Hudson, northeast of Metro Denver. The Denver Post reported on the Hudson plan earlier this week based on what members of the state's congressional delegation were told. But the new documents indicate the agency is also targeting the reopening of another private prison in Walsenburg in southern Colorado, and in addition of another 28 beds at the Southern Ute Detention Center Ignacio, which is in the Southern Ute Tribe Indian Reservation southeast of Durango. The documents also say ICE plans to expand its capacity as its sole operating facility in the state. In Aurora, from a contracted cap of 1,360 beds to its maximum capacity of 1,530. That expansion, along with the opening of the Hudson and Walsenburg facilities, are both expected before the end of the year, according to the documents. ICE is rapidly seeking to expand its detention capacity amid President Donald Trump's mass deportation push. By January, the Washington Post reported its plans call for detention beds to reach 107,000 nationwide, which would more than double the nearly 50,000 capacity of the immigration detention system when Trump began his second term. The expansion and openings would mean Colorado would have the sixth most ICE detention beds in the country, according to the Washington Post's analysis. So, pretty interesting stuff. We'll see what ends up happening there. But I can't neglect to mention why Colorado is in this mess. This is from 2019, House Bill 191124. This is one of the signature pieces of legislation passed by the Democratic majority in our state legislature to turn Colorado into what I would call a sanctuary state. They say it's to protect Colorado residents from federal government overreach. And hey, I'm a libertarian. I love that title. But of course, the title is Colorado residents. They mean people who are in the country illegally. They don't mean protecting our Second Amendment rights, our First Amendment rights. No, they mean people who are protecting people from the consequences of their action for violating federal immigration law. So you have Adrian Benavidez, Susan Lontine, Mike Foote, Julie Gonzalez. Of course, Julie Gonzalez, unfortunately, still serving in the legislature. Absolutely terrible senator there. But of course, this is one of the bills that prevented Colorado law enforcement, Colorado government officials from cooperating with federal immigration authorities and holding people that they knew were in the country illegally for the purposes of getting them over to ICE. So, it's no surprise, folks, why we have so much illegal immigration here in Colorado. And I got to say, I don't know if it's 100% accurate, but it seems to me that some of this ramped up enforcement, going after some of these cartel members, taking all these drugs off the street, homicides are down in Denver. I mean, there's the proof right there, folks. I don't know what else has changed over those last few years. Of course, Colorado's in the news as well for flaunting federal immigration law. Here, this is from Denver7.com. Trump's DOJ threatens Colorado with legal action, pulling of federal funding over state's sanctuary policies. Attorney General Pam Bondi says in letter Colorado, quote, engages in sanctuary policies that thwart federal immigration enforcement to the detriment of the interests of the United States. This article here is from August 14th, 2025, updated on August 15th. Let me make it a little bit bigger there. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi on Thursday threatened Governor Jared Polis with legal action in the pulling of federal funds if he fails to eliminate state laws the Trump administration believes impede with the president's plans for mass deportations. The demand letter, which was also addressed to Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser, identified Colorado as a jurisdiction that, quote, engages in sanctuary policies and practices that thwart federal immigration enforcement to the detriment of the interests of the United States. I mean, that seems obvious to me. It requests that Governor Polis submit a response by August 19th to confirm his commitment to complying with federal law and asks that he identify, quote, the immediate initiatives you are taking to eliminate laws, policies, and practices that impede federal immigration enforcement. The letter from Bondi wasn't just sent to Colorado. At least 12 other states across the country are thought to have received the letter after Bondi singled out California and New York in a social media post Thursday morning. So there's a copy of the letter. Of course, I'll have the links at Free State Colorado everywhere. But, here we go. Colorado is under the microscope, as they should be. We need to get some of these criminals off our streets. We need to have these deportations for people who are committing violent crimes and these drug offenses. So, big news there, folks. We'll keep an eye on it, see what happens. But interesting stuff for sure. And regardless of if it's immigration or some other issue, crime in our communities cannot be tolerated. We have too much violent crime, too much property crime. People who are willing to risk their own lives to steal a car or break into somebody's house or commit some other act of violence. And that can't be tolerated, folks. These criminals who are willing to violate the law in terms of violating somebody's property rights or violating their person by committing an act of violence against them, they deserve the harshest penalties there are. I mean, that's ultimately what needs to happen. Unfortunately, our Democratic majority doesn't like that idea. They've been going in the opposite direction for many years. It's leading to the detriment that we have right now. But I want to finish on another good note here. This is from August 14th, 2025. Repeat offender injured after confrontation with armed homeowner in Stratmore Valley. On August 13th, 2025, around 5:32 a.m., the El Paso County Regional Communications Center received a 911 call from an elderly resident in the Stratmore Valley Mobile Home Park on Wooddale Road in unincorporated El Paso County. The caller reported an intruder inside their home. The homeowner told dispatchers they asked the man to leave, but he refused. A physical struggle followed, during which the homeowner stabbed the suspect. Wow. The suspect fled the residence. Thankfully, the homeowner was unharmed. When El Paso County Sheriff's Office patrol deputies arrived, they found the suspect had run through two neighboring yards, damaging fences before collapsing one of the backyards. The suspect, identified as 37-year-old Gareth Webb, a previously convicted felon, was transported to a local hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. I mean, these criminals cannot be tolerated to be in our community. You kind of hope that this homeowner had a firearm instead of just a knife. But be careful out there, folks. There are criminals out there, and we need to be able to defend ourselves, protect ourselves and our families and our homes from these violent criminals who are willing to break the law. So, started this conversation by talking about crime, and just wanted to finish up talking about crime here at the very end. And a story of an armed homeowner defending himself is something that's always worth sharing. So, really appreciate you joining us today. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.